Hello, hello! Welcome to Club Chrisette. I'm your host, Chrisette, and welcome back to the letter. So when we last left off, we took some scary photographs, and we moved into the house. So, without further ado, let us continue. I'm sorry, but I'm really getting distracted.
Could you maybe stop doing that?
Stop? I'm not sure if I want to, though. So, I remember in my last episode, I said I want nothing more than to have a good relationship with everyone who isn't Luke. So without further ado, let's stop it and respect his wishes.
I'll stop if it makes you uncomfortable, sweetie.
Alright, let's see. How does that impact everything? Okay, that just brings us up with Zach. I wonder if continuing would have brought it up. It would have brought Luke down. Okay, no, it just highly impacts our relationship with Zach, so... And that's not what I want.
I'll stop if it makes you uncomfortable, sweetie.
There we go.
Sorry.
No, I should be the one apologizing. Why, you're a shy one, aren't you, big guy?
It's not that, but...
He gestures to the ring on my finger and lets the fact of the matter hang heavily between us. Being told implicitly that I am too forward is not a common occurrence. I think I'm more stunned at the fact that he pointed it out rather than, well, being rejected. Not that anything is going to happen between us in the first place. It was just some harmless flirting, right?
So, you've never had a girlfriend?
No.
We can start with Isabella.
No boyfriend either. You know, just in case you were gonna ask for that one next.
And you haven't even had your first kiss?
Not a one, ma'am.
Do you want to have your first kiss today?
I thought we stopped flirting. I can't help it. I really, really can't, and I am going to apologize lots later. Surely, by the catty smile on my face, it is obvious that I am just pulling his leg. The laugh I fail to contain certainly gives it away if it still isn't obvious. But still, he lights up in embarrassment, stammering and sputtering objections.
You're married, and this will be extremely unprofessional.
I never said I would kiss you, silly. Oh, Johans!
Oh no.
No, what? No. Don't call your butler. She's Hannah.
That would be for the better. I don't think his husband would appreciate it if I made him kiss another man.
Aww. That's actually a really organic touch. Do you know what I mean? Like to have some sort of LGBT representation just kind of organically inserted into a game like this. That's nice.
I do not think you can hear us from here either. But it is hard to think you're not taken, Zachary. Why, whoever becomes your girlfriend will be so lucky to have you. You can cook and take wonderful photographs. Wonderful meals and wonderful memories.
I can play guitar too.
You can? Oh my. Wonderful serenades as well then.
I like Hannah a lot because you can tell she's a romantic at heart.
Perhaps I can find a young lady who deserves a fine, strapping young gentleman like yourself.
Let's not get carried away. Besides, I gotta be going. It's getting late and I got someplace else to be.
A shame.
I wonder where else he has to be. I'm very curious about that, but we'll find that out in the next chapter.
I will be expecting you again soon, I hope. For a copy of my photographs, yes?
Yes.
Of course. I'll even deliver them personally.
And then we can have a cup of tea and your husband will be a racist asshat.
Just, don't try to make me kiss your butler when I drop by.
Sounds good. Sounds like a deal. As fate would have it, the very moment the words leave his mouth, Johans comes out of his house. Judging by the slight raise of his brows, he has heard only the tail end of that sentence.
There shall be no kissing of any butlers under this roof, Danke.
But you are not under a roof, are you, Hansi?
Ooh, she got a point. To my amusement, he takes a step back, safely placing himself on the threshold of the foyer and under the roof of the house. And just as ever, he is quick to return to a sardonic reply.
I am now. As I was saying, madam, it's about time for supper. Will I be needing to set an extra place at the table?
Oh, what? No, I was just leaving, actually. So, you have a good night, Hana.
I wonder if we didn't choose to go with Isabel, with the priest, if we would actually be sitting at the table with them. You know what I mean? Like, because now he knows to be wary of her husband. So yeah, there is that. We are 28% of the way through with Miss Hannah. Okay.
And you too, Hansy.
It was nice to meet you, Zach, honey. You have a safe trip.
He nods, and the grin on his face as we say our goodbyes is the sweetest thing that I have ever seen. I linger, looking out for him with his relatively tiny bicycle backpack sleepily secured in the basket by the front and the suitcase hooked to the back. I watch as he went down the path to Anslem Village until there's nothing more than a blip in the horizon. I cannot help the small smile on my face as I go inside for supper. Entering the dining hall causes me so much confusion. It is dark. For a moment, I thought the electric work is not up to par. But clearly that is not the case, as every other room is bright artificial light. Finding a light switch is a monumental task, considering the size and my unfamiliarity with the room. To make matters worse, the darkness grants the room a different atmosphere, eerie and frightening. It takes me longer than I thought to find the switch, It takes longer than I thought to find the cinch, something that'll have to be rectified later on. My skin starts to prickle, and there is a distinct feeling of being watched. Is it her, or is it our husband? Or is it Johann's? It unsettles me and only spurs me in on my search. And when I do open the lights, there is a hiss.
I'll turn the lights down, woman!
Oh no, he's drinking. There, at the end of the hall, is my beloved husband with his face in one hand and a glass in the other. Perhaps I can let it go if it's only one glass of wine. However, I find myself go livid after seeing the toxic green liquid gleam mockingly at me.
Luke, what? Are you drinking absinthe?
Oh yeah, that's actually really strong stuff.
You know what the doctor said. Absinthe, Luke. Are you actively trying to kill yourself? Because if you are, we can just hit you with a bloody car.
Honeybee, Buttercup, not too loud, please. Besides, it's Lelouch, not too strong. Just hair of the dog that bit me. Helps with the hangover, dearest.
You drank? When?
This morning, love. Don't be mad. I just needed a few drinks, having to deal with those simpletons. And maybe I had one too much. You don't see me whinging about you leaving me to handle them on my own.
I had to attend the photo shoot and interview with Luxury Living. You know that. Let's not make this about me, Luke. This is about you and your drinking problem and...
Oh, I don't know, Hannah, darling. What if my drinking problem, as you like to call it, is linked to you?
What the hell? If you're that unhappy, just leave.
If we think about it that way, this discussion is about you.
I get the sense that Hannah is going to end up being the more successful one, and he's just trying to repress her. Do you know what I mean?
That was pretty mean of you, leaving me alone to do all the work like that. You can't use the interview as an excuse either, honey. I was informed the moment your little interview was done. So, what was it then, What were you doing?
Is he accusing us of cheating? Let's save this. I'm very curious to see what each outcome has in store for us.
I was talking with Zachary, the photographer for Luxury Living.
So if we do that, okay, it definitely subtracts our relationship with Luke, but improves our relationship with Zachary. have no reason to tell lies. It's not like I'm guilty of anything. I mean, and it is the truth, and I'd rather just say this straight up. I don't want, even though I want to sabotage our relationship with Luke, I don't want to make her out to be, an utter liar. Do you know what I mean? I want to play her as honestly as possible while keeping her dignity intact. But as Luke's expression turns, he makes me feel like I am actually to blame for something. He has a way of making me lay bare with just a look. That had really struck me when we first met years ago.
That giant Negro?
Oh my god, he's using racist language again.
You were having a secret meeting behind my back and it was with him?
What are you implying?
I'm implying nothing. I'm just worried. You know better than to trust those media types, Buttercup. He must have been really friendly to occupy your time like that.
I mean, you're the one who set up the interview, though, so for you to say, well, don't trust media types, is absolutely hypocritical.
But all he's looking for is his next big headline.
He's a photographer for an interior design magazine.
Doesn't matter. You let one little thing slip, one wrong move, and it'll blow up in the telly in the morning. He'll go to his journalist friends to gossip and make a quick quid.
His eyes were the first thing I noticed about him. They were like nature, the grass and the trees, wonderful and breathtaking. Now, as I look at him, they're nothing more but the same shade of green as the bloody damn drink in his hand. That's something she noticed about Zach as well, as his eyes. It must be something she's just attracted to naturally.
He was a perfect gentleman, Luke. I can't say the same for you as of recent.
Ooh.
Excuse me again? We're talking about you, Hannah.
No, I am pretty sure we were talking about you and your drinking problem, Luke, right?
Hangover forgotten during the course of this little spat, the man jumps to his feet and seethes. It looks like he is barely stopping himself from throwing the nearest thing he can find.
Oh, it is not a problem. I can stop whenever I want.
So stop now.
And even if it was, I think you can very well stay out of it, as it only affects my own kidneys or liver or whatever the bloody hell that shite pollutes.
Okay.
Whatever aftermath that occurs because of your little chit-chat with the Negro affects the both of us, however.
Look, Luke, nothing will happen. You have to relax. It was just a friendly chat.
Well, now I think I'm getting jealous.
Another thing to add on top of your list of problems.
Or I would be if it weren't for this damn headache.
Maybe you should drink more.
Maybe.
Supper is spent in silence with nothing but the occasional sound of silverware. Where's Johans to, bring down the hammer of verbal justice onto Luke when we need him? A grand feast has been served. Well, grander than usual anyway, most likely due to Luke's complaints of stress. Like I said, this looks fancier than anything I eat, but I wouldn't eat those oysters back here. A platter of native oysters for starters, and tranche of turbot with purple sprouting, broccoli, lemon, capers, and anchovy sauce for the maids. I would eat broccoli. To finish it off, black tea and golden syrup sponge pudding with custard. I'd eat that too. But when our appetites are appeased and the plates are cleared away, Luke stands, kisses me goodnight, and leaves me to stare at a half-empty cup. That's really weird that he'd even kiss us goodnight at this point. You'd think he'd just, stomp on to bed. Lonely in the lull of night, I sit in a house too big and too empty for and unwelcoming. Even with its warm tone, homely decor, it feels cold. There is no need for tears, however. I know I could get through this like every other obstacle I have faced before. This is a minor setback. In what I hope will be a long and happy life. To remind myself that this place is for Luke and our future children fills me with renewed vigor. Besides, it looks like someone is having a cry already. The wailing is far away and muffled. Yet, at the same time, it shakes me to my very core as I hear it. It doesn't sound like a cry. I hear the noise that they're talking about, but it sounds more like that sort of scratching sound we've talked about earlier, that scratching in the wind. As if the suffering is just standing right behind me. It probably is. Hearing it sends a chill down my spine and makes my skin prickle with goosebumps. Who is that? Curiosity sinks in as I follow the sorrowful sound into the kitchen and into the wine cellar hatch.
Hello? Is anybody down there?
Probably not. I am curious and concerned, but there is no way I am going into a dark, humid... Oh, wait, hang on, I think I messed that up. I am curious and concerned, but there is no way I am going down into a dark and humid underground. I'm not as enthusiastic as Luke, who considers himself to be quite the connoisseur. However, I also cannot bring myself to go to bed with this racket going on. I'm sure you wouldn't even hear the noise from up where you're going to be at. If it is one of the household help, they will surely need some talking. After all, this wouldn't be the first time I've gone and found one of my maids sobbing their eyes out over one thing or another. As professional as our staff is, they are still human. More often than not, it was either Johans or I who'd calm them down, who'd help them figure out how to go on about things. Unfortunately, I'm not as in high spirits right now, so I'm not as wholly benevolent. So I will, let's save, because we know what's up here. We know what's going on, right? We know, I think it is actually going to be her. So let's open that hatch. Let's see. I may not be going down there, but there's no point to talk through closed doors. Or hatches in this case. The thing refuses to budge at first until there's a soft click and it easily swings free. As I lift the hatch and look down into the cellar, a sense of uneasiness washes over me. Oh yeah, we're gonna die. This is the same sort of song that played when we were first in the attic right here. It is just the sudden onset of vertigo and nausea, but also the darkness. It's suffocating, and as I look down, it feels as if it's looking back at me. I worry that something will suddenly pull me into the deep. I can hear her whispering. Oh yeah, it's going to be her. I was gonna say Hana saw the letter, so she's now gonna be victim to her. Calling for me. She wants me. Needs me. She wants me to drown, pull me down and suffocate me in her embrace until I sink to the bottom. A deep abyss awaits inviting yet foreboding. She's calling to me from in there, isn't she? And I do want to help, I do, but I close the hatch instead. The shadows threaten to creep out, and a feeling of apprehension keeps me in place. Already, it paints the room in a darker light. Triple dot. There is a lurching sensation, and the feeling that follows is hard to explain. It feels like I'm watching myself from the sidelines, a spectator to my actions, or lack thereof. I will myself to snap out of this detached feeling, to move, to do anything except stare at myself. And for a moment, I see the look of fear in my own face. Hey, I'm sorry, I have a cat rubbing my hand right now and keeps making me click the save button. I'm back in my body, and the hook in my stomach is no longer the only one. There are hooks everywhere, tearing and pulling at my skin, flesh, and bones. They pull at me in every direction, and it hurts. It hurts so much, but I can't bring myself to scream out.
Help me.
Oh, press tab to skip the QT. I wake from a deep slumber. It takes a while, with the fog that has settled in my head and my limbs heavy. But soon enough, I manage to look around. I am in our bedroom already, although I do not recall going here. Luke slumbers beside me, looking peaceful and angelic. It doesn't matter. I'm safe, and I feel better than ever. Tomorrow, better days will come. Luke is already gone by the time I rise. There isn't a single hide nor hair can be found, and trying to call him on his mobile is a bust, as it only goes straight to his voicemail. That's twice in a row he's gone on me. And for him to disappear today of all days is every bit upsetting because of what's to come. The morning is once again filled with a whirlwind of activity. Fortunately, I am much more refreshed as I took a break from my responsibilities. I didn't have the faintest clue where Luke was yesterday. Today is going to be a busy day, although, unlike Wednesday, the master of the house isn't here right now, absent once again from his duties. Hopefully he'll be back in time for the party. This is our house, after all. A grand housewarming party for the wonderful Wright mansion. Every person of importance from Luxbourne is invited, and there will be a few guests flying in as well. On such short notice? Of course, there will be some people from the media, along with friends and acquaintances who are no less important regardless of their status in society. Marianne and I discussed business and last-minute touches to the house before finalizing everything. Not that there is much to change from our original plans, but any huge additions to the property itself, the mansion is nearly 100% complete.
You have certainly exceeded expectations, Marianne. Everything looks so marvelous, and in such a short time, too.
Well, I can't take all of the credit. People have certainly been enthusiastic about the idea of working on the Wright mansion. There won't be any more problems unless Mr. Wright has any more objections about the second bedroom.
Luke and I had a small tip about making the second bedroom into a child's playroom, which I insisted is completely practical. In the end, he had to acquiesce. I didn't give him any choice in the matter. I even bought this wonderful wooden crib from the antique store yesterday, including some toys, just in case anyone brings their baby, of course. Besides, we have little need for actual guest rooms. We hardly have guests who spend the night. If we absolutely have to, we often choose to put the bill for their visit on one of our hotels instead, always at Luke's own insistence. And on the off chance that we actually let someone stay, the bedroom in the opposite wing is still up to the task.
Oh, no. We proceed with that room as planned. I already agreed to him having his greenhouse and his vineyard and his stables. He may as well let me have this one thing.
Yes, girl. Yeah, I feel so bad for her. She does deserve better. No, I did not agree to him having a helipad.
All right, then. Well, do we have any other concerns? Anything we need to put on our agenda before the party commences?
No, I don't think so. Not unless Luke has anything else to say.
Is he around then? It'd be best if we can note down his requests right away, considering the scope of his usual ones.
Around? No. Where is he? Who knows where? So I suspect, because Lee, that was his name, right? Didn't he say he still acts like a bachelor? Is he just off with some other woman because he's unhappy with our marriage? I know I'm trying to sabotage it, but I don't.
No, he's not around.
But we don't know where he's at, and it's a Saturday. I don't think it was noted that he works on Saturdays at any point, or what his work schedule was like, but still, it's very suspect. She didn't have to point out the obvious now, did she? After 7 long years, I'd already gotten used to him. I should be by now. Still not, apparently.
But don't you have a party?
Yes. I want nothing more to complain, to whine about how unfair this is. However, airing out one's dirty laundry is simply taboo among high society. To do so will make you a ripe target for the next dinner party chit-chat. Vultures, the lot of them, really. Or most of them, at least. They're always good ones, like Rochelle Lee. To put your trust in the wrong person, and you'll go find yourself eagerly picked apart.
Yes. But Luke's just being a sweetie, you see. That friend he's visiting, he's having marital problems and he's just trying to cheer him up.
Perhaps I am being a bit too rash, a bit too hot-headed in divulging details. But I thought myself clever with the plan to dress it up as gossip. Marianne's raised brow makes me unsure whether she's interested or not. Although, that does make things better if she has no interest, and therefore has no hidden intent to utilize whatever I may say to her.
They've been married for a long time and they've hit how do they say it? A rough patch. His wife has a drinking problem and can be very neglectful. The poor thing really does his best to be a good husband. But it's never enough for her.
Oh, this is dressing it up as gossip, really. I wonder if that's actually happening, and it's just convenient parallels, or if, she's just trying to make it up.
Sometimes I think it's the years. Maybe it's been so long that they've lost that romantic spark.
But I was going to say, if she's talking about the Lees, in this case, it's already been established they've been married for 20 years, so this sort of thing could be happening.
What do you think?
What do I think of the matter, ma'am?
No, what do you think of my hair? It feels so lifeless and dull today, and that's no good for a party. And I think I'm breaking out into zits.
Now that you mention it, there is something different.
There better not be something on my face.
I wouldn't worry about that. You do look a little paler than usual, ma'am.
Oh, is it because we opened up the hatch? Are we sick?
I apologize if I'm crossing any lines here, but have you been resting properly?
Huh. You'd think I get a bit tanned with how sunny it's been lately. Don't you worry. I feel right as rain and never better. But back to the matter at hand.
You were asking for my personal opinion on the matter, ma'am? Do you want me to be honest, or...
Do I want her to be honest? I mean, yes, we definitely do. I feel like that'll... Maybe this is similar to the cat situation, where if we tell her we want her to be honest, it would just be lingering on a topic too long and it'll decrease our relationship with her. Let's see
Be
it.
honest with me, Marianne. I don't need someone
Real
to
talk.
sugarcoat it.
Oh, it actually improved our relationship. Well, that's actually quite interesting.
I'm not some fragile thing that I'm just going to break down at the slightest thing.
She hesitates, taking a sip of her coffee while I stare into my own cup of tea. The silence stretches on, and I almost believe that she will never answer my question. I suppose I shouldn't blame her, putting her on a tight spot like this. Her hesitation is understandable, though I loathe to admit it. She simply wants this whole thing to stay professional. But then she speaks.
If I'm going to be completely honest, I need to ask. This is about you and Mr. Wright, isn't it?
Oh! It's my turn to hesitate now. I really didn't expect such a straightforward question. And to get to the heart of the matter, I suppose I'm not as clever as I'd like to think. Or is it really that bad that an outsider can see our little marital trouble? I mean, your troubles don't seem little. Like, Luke just seems to be very emotionally abusive. Surely, we aren't that obvious, are we? We put up the act of a perfect couple for years, although it has always been an act. Marianne is just more keen than the average person, of course. So y'all have not been happy for a long time, then. It is a necessity to her career. She's been working so closely with us. Yes, that's it.
Suppose it is. What would you tell me?
Then I tell you it's none of my business. I tell you that I don't want to meddle. But if if the troubled husband with the neglectful wife asked me for my honest opinion, I'd say that he shouldn't base his happiness and his self-worth on someone else.
It's so true. Marianne is the real hero of the story. Her and Johans are the real heroes here. And everyone, give them applause, because that bit of advice is absolutely 100% true.
Someone who won't even give him the time of the day. Maybe he should try being independent for a while. See what it's like when he isn't trying to please someone else and doing things for himself. Everyone's supposed to be their own man or woman, right? A bit of breathing room never hurt anyone. That's just my 2 pence worth, of course.
And her 2 pence worth is absolutely true. Having your own time to yourself for self-growth and self-reflection and introspection is so important for all of us, so we can get a clearer picture of things. Kind of understand what it is that makes us happy or unhappy, and what we need to do to take care of ourselves.
So you're saying they should divorce?
I'm saying y'all should divorce, but I don't like Luke, so I'm absolutely biased in this case.
Nothing as drastic as that. If they're afraid that it might lead to just that, then maybe that is what's meant to happen in the first place. We shouldn't let our fear control our lives. But it's just a short hiatus is all.
Right.
Or, couples therapy? Look, I'm really not the best person to ask about relationships. So grain of salt and all that.
She trails off, having said her piece, and leaves nothing but the smell of coffee and Earl Grey between us. There's a calm despite the nature of what we have just discussed. To say that her words make me start to think is an understatement. To say that I'm not considering her advice is a lie. And to say that this might just be the calm before the storm is a possibility. Others have had shorter marriages, yes, but plenty have celebrated long and happy ones as well. My own parents celebrated their choral anniversary before they passed away. But 7 years? 7 years isn't a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. It isn't a whole lot of time to see what or where our relationship can bring us. And at the same time, 7 years, well, it hasn't been entirely made up of unhappy years, has it? It won't last forever. It's not supposed to, anyway. I just dread the thought that it might last for a very long time. I dread the thought that all these small spats, these little disagreements, will turn into an all-out resentment. The idea that we will grow to hate each other with every fiber of our being scares me. I can't even pinpoint the exact moment when our blissful union turned sour. Story updated. We can get through this, right? I know that I still do love him, and I feel that there's a part of him that loves me in return. We just need to get our heads together and talk it out. Surely, he will see some sense. There is a call before Marianne clears her throat. I must have been quiet for so long, and I move to apologize when she stands up. We both end up on our feet, unsure of how to proceed. Some sort of odd, awkward shuffle occurs, and we decide whether to sit back down or not.
I really should handle what's left of the work.
There you go. That's a great way to proceed.
You won't be attending the party? Oh, you really must, Marianne.
I'll try to stay and chat. Maybe grab a few bites and a drink, but I can't be around for the entirety of the event. My apologies.
It's okay. When we play your story, we'll get to find out where you skedaddle off to.
Busy, busy, busy.
You must stay a while. I'd love for you to meet some of my friends, and they're ever so excited to meet you.
It'll be great business for you, ma'am.
You need to say hello to the Lees, at least. If it wasn't for them, I'd never even heard of you.
We'll see. So, if I can be excused?
Certainly. You'll have to excuse me as well. I must attend to the party before any early birds arrive. Because, believe me, they will throw a fuss if things aren't ready, even when they're not supposed to be here until an hour later.
Oh, God. The scene outside the parlor is a great organized mess. Aside from our own household help, we hired the service of the temp agency, which provides staff for Wright Enterprise in the hospitality sector. Even our very skilled staff cannot undertake a party of this size on their own. Waiters, busboys, and their staff captains move about in the droves, carrying crockery and serveware good for the several dozens of people and then some. Chefs and bartenders tail after Johans, looking like scared little children as he escorts them through the kitchen and into the wine cellar. To pursue the stocks, to select what can be served at the party, and what can be used for cooking. So, I have a question. We know that apparently a lot of the people who worked in the house have already died or disappeared. We learned that in Isabella's story. Remember when she overheard the missing persons case on the radio in her office? Are all the people who just attend this party gonna go missing too? To pursue the stock... Oh, I already read that line. I apologize.
No, we have a lot to do, and I believe we did not hire snails. Snails are for the dishes.
A string quartet readies up to play for the evening, tooting their instruments as they fill the air with idle chatter. Floral decor where thousands fill vases, wreaths, and baskets, while petals are scattered along the driveway up front. Oh, that's kind of beautiful. It looks like a wedding cake. An ice sculpture of a reindeer is brought up in carefully by a pair. It is followed by a simple cake. A simple cake? I'm sorry. When I think of a simple cake, I think of like Betty Crocker, man. It is followed by a simple cake. Just a 5-tier white chiffon one with one chocolate mousse, fresh berries, and a light dusting of edible gold leaf. But despite the fact that I told Marianne how I will attend to all of this, I find myself unable to focus or care for any of it. I still have our discussion running in my mind. Looking at all of this, I only see Luke everywhere. All of these grand things that Luke wanted to have for the party. I wanted a small, elegant, and simple gathering with only a few invited, namely the people who I would actually trust to enter my home. I did not want any bloody politicians or paparazzi in here, no matter how I'm used to catering to them.
At least be here for your party. Damn it, Luke.
The entire thing screamed Luke Wright. I can't help but add another question to my growing list of inquiries. When did I lose myself? It's always about him nowadays, isn't it? Hang on. Let's read her journal real quick. I realize I don't even know much about her. I'm sure we can get some backstory on this. She's 31 years old. Of the Lux-born upper classes, Hannah is used to living a life of luxury. Absent parents made her crave for attention, though, something she gained from her private tutors and nannies. Instead, it was never enough, however. She studied hard in order to make her parents proud, going into business so that she could work alongside them. I called this out, I think, a while ago, that I suspect that she's going to be, someone who was successful in business, but is being oppressed by Luke at this point. The challenge in her otherwise privileged life was certainly a thrill for her, at the very least. She had many suitors dating different men and women. Oh, so she's bi, or pan, whatever undisclosed sexuality they're going to give her here. I highly appreciate that. But it was through work that she met Luke. It was love at first sight for her. Upon her parents' death, Luke proposed to her. That was the move that led to the merging of Wright Enterprise and Evans Incorporated and her subsequent retirement. Their 7-year marriage is strained, but Hannah tries her best to make it work. So why did she retire after marrying Luke? Was he just like, I'm just going to take care of everything? Like, because if their business is merged, and I know it's already disclosed that he likes to be there to try to manage everything. Is that why? What about Hannah Wright? What about Hannah Evans? I used to be my own woman who made her own name, her own career, and her own decisions. Sure, I was already the social butterfly that I still am today, but it wasn't all empty, shallow gossip and sitting pretty. I was also lauded for my knowledge and talent. Finance manager wasn't just handed to me just because my father owned the company. I had insisted that I start at the bottom so I could work my way up to the top and prove myself. And I did. I worked numbers, managed budgets, money and accounts, analyzing the competition and market trends. There was the calculation of financial risk, cost reduction opportunities, auditor liaison, and public relations, supervision of staff, and, well, I generally had a huge slew of responsibilities. Admittedly, I was already quite the attention seeker even back then, having dedicated most of my youth craving for my parents' approval. Failing that, I turned to others, looked for praise from anyone who would give it to me, however fleeting it all was. Oh, Luke. The way he looked at me, the way he watched me and took genuine interest. He had me disgustingly obsessed since day one, hasn't he? He saw me for me, Hannah Evans, with both my faults and my achievements. The man didn't treat me like some damsel in distress or some prize to be won. I remember the nights before we were married, where we talked about everything and anything. From the big things like business, society, and philosophy to the little things such as what we wanted for breakfast and whether we liked cats or dogs more. We both prefer dogs. Nowadays, I'm just Luke Wright's wife. Triple dot. It's mostly my fault, isn't it? They told me that husbands prefer wives who are docile and subordinate. A woman who will always be there for them, yet would never outshine him in all aspects except beauty. A wife needs to be at home and attend to his needs, to have children and take care of them in his absence. They said I had no business working anymore after I was married. I can blame society. But I listened. Before I can fall further into this introspective pit of self-loathing, someone calls for my attention.
The guests have arrived, madam.
It's Best Boy!
And Luke?
Running a bit late, I'm afraid.
Late for his own party. That man, I swear. He's probably looking to make a dramatic entrance, knowing him. Open the doors then. We mustn't hurry.
Cars line up the driveway, peppering the front of the mansion with vehicles of every kind. Grand tours, supercars, even the odd high-end muscle car to convertibles, grand saloons, and other luxury cars can be seen being parked by valets. A handful of cabs drive off, possibly for those who thought it's too troublesome to bring their own cars. There are at least 2 different media vans as well. They're all here for what may be considered the biggest event of the year for Luxborn so far. Who knows what we'll plan for the winter holidays?
Welcome everyone. Please make yourselves at home.
So, is this where our relationship when we're a little more strict with Luke goes up? Like, I remember in the previous episode, was it in the previous episode? If you picked basically if you pick to be submissive, your relationship goes down with Luke. Though I know we've already concluded that, so that tells me the answers in which you pick the more dominating answers would improve your relationship with him. Is that why he took interest in us? Because we were just such a hard-working woman, that person, the boss lady, basically. Some of the guests idle, enjoying the warm, if not strange sunshine we are experiencing before gloomy skies inevitably return. They greet acquaintances and friends with warm smiles, others less so. From where I stand, I can see the hierarchy of power, the ties that bind these individuals here where others through convenience or necessity. However, there are also few who are not here to further cement their current place in high society, Luke. What the hell? It's Ash. such as that young man with his oriental air, ignorant of the looks he receives from men and women alike.
Be careful with Shirley, alright?
Man from the Orient. Or that rose-haired woman talking on her phone while she looks unsure of why she was here exactly.
Yes, I'm at the party already, Mom. Yes, I'll say hi to her if I can.
So, do these people... Are Ash and Rebecca actually, like, a part of some sort of high society family, then? I see Zachary, the photographer, as well. He talks to a few of the other media crew with the air of familiarity.
I was just here a few days ago, yeah. Yeah, and the inside is huge, but the staff are pretty helpful if you get lost.
And then there are a few people like like the knockoff priest here, Lee. I mean Chief Inspector. People who I can never be too sure about. People who stand on the border between being suspicious and being trustworthy.
Thank you for the invite, Anna. Husband still missing, I see.
I should be saying the same of your darling Rochelle, Lee.
Is he with Rochelle?
The doctors again?
She told me she'll just be in the gardens.
What?
Bet she's lying and that she's somewhere around mingling, gossiping with the other ladies. It's no offense, but that seems to be all you ladies do at these parties.
And aren't you gossiping right now?
You're no better than a lady, Mr. Inspector.
Yes, well, what about Luke? Should we file a missing persons report now, or do you want to wait 24 hours?
He's around.
You know, I can tell if someone's bluffing. Don't tell me, let me guess. He's finally drunken himself to death and not wanting a scandal, you've hidden his body. I was wanting to give this housewarming gift to him personally, too. It's a plate that holds a wine glass so he can stop killing himself with liquid lunches. Looks like it's too late for that.
Nothing like that. Besides, this is a hardly polite conversation.
I mean, Hannah's got a point, and I, the game player over here, is just laughing at his, sarcastic remarks.
Oh, relax. I'm just trying to be cheeky to lighten the mood. It's not like I want Luke dead. The man doesn't serve dodgy plonk like the others when I visit, and he pays his respects well enough. I could use a glass of wine or 3, actually. Rochelle's been in a horrid mood. Threw her stilettos at me the other day and almost took an eye out. Not sure if this is how it usually goes, but I blame the pregnancy.
I wouldn't know, would I?
Still no plans for a baby? Well, I guess that's for the best. If it's this bad now, I can't even imagine how bad it'll be when that little baby bump becomes huge.
Have I even mentioned how I don't trust him no matter how hard I try to do so? At least he brought a gift, I suppose, but for Luke, not for you,
Why
girlie.
don't you just go inside and have some wine, Lee?
Think I will, thanks.
Greetings such as these carry on as the guests continue to trickle in. Whether we have a short conversation or merely shake hands and nod heads, I make sure to attend and welcome each of them. As the first hour passes by, the rest of the stragglers and I adjourn into the ballroom. Any latecomers will have to attend the porter instead. I have other duties to attend to now. Hosting parties is always the same old song and dance no matter how big or small it is. You make sure your guests are well fed, have good company, and have them generally enjoy themselves. So when my opening remarks are done, and when the band has started to play, and the guests have started eating, I find myself wandering around aimlessly unless I am pulled aside. For a while, I stay with the small group and entertain them before excusing myself. And when they're not around anymore watching me, I ended up watching them. When they don't listen, I do. A local banker is having some trouble with his daughter. He wishes to marry her off, but she wants nothing more than to make music. One of our hotel managers worry about the stolen belongings of one of his patrons, a failing in security which should be brought up to the higher authorities soon. Our mail? Well, his cat died. And then there's that rose-haired woman once again. It is hard to not notice her with her distinctive looks. She also lacks the grace that the other ladies have, though that does not make her any less beautiful. Her stance in the air she exudes instead are strong, and they make her stand out despite her casual attire. Many men have already given her their attention, though each invitation to dance has been turned down. I approach her intrigued, although there is no great mystery what occupies her own attention, the glances she keeps sending towards that boy with the oriental hair. She remains unaware, though, even as I stand beside her, pretending that I am near her drink.
You would catch his eye a lot better if you wore nicer clothes, don't you think?
Aww.
Didn't realize the housewarming was going to be this fancy. I would have gone with a nice dress if I knew.
Oh, you're fine, dearie. It's only really the parvenus, those who climb, that come to these parties all dolled up. Quite the black-haired beauty, isn't he?
The boy comes over, but I do nothing to speak any softer. He merely passes by, and it is a wonder he doesn't hear what I say.
Who, Ash?
You know, you really shouldn't have turned down those offers. If I wasn't married, I'd happily go dancing with those young men. But you said a name. Ash. That's the exquisite lad you've been looking at all this time. I don't know him, and I'm the one hosting this party. That must mean you know each other. Is he your boyfriend then? Because that would explain those rejections.
The gossip here is kind of interesting. In all my life, I have never seen a face grow red so fast. The shade of her hair did not help as well. It is the most pink I've ever seen on a person, really.
What? No, that's ridiculous. He isn't my boyfriend.
Such a violent reaction. A simple no would have sufficed. Many here would be happy to hear it.
And I haven't been looking at him.
That's right. You've been staring. Quite heatedly, in fact. Although I'm not sure if you look like you want to kiss him or kill him.
It's more the latter currently.
Just don't go murdering him on my property. I don't want to walk into a room and suddenly find a body there.
I waver as I feel the burning of someone's stares. It is chilling, and though I am used to enduring the gazes of others, this one makes me feel the hair on the back of my neck stand up. What the hell? I was actually not expecting this. My attention is pulled from the girl, and I see a woman staring. Dark-haired and dirty, she looks more like a beggar than a guest, and I have half the mind to call security at her when her mouth breaks open into a grin. All I hear is her laughing. Is this what happened because we opened up the cellar? Taunting. Her stare makes my blood run cold. She looks at me like I am nothing but a pig to slaughter for her amusement. It makes my hands shake and I nearly drop my drink. But then I blink and she's gone, and the buzz from the party returns.
I'll keep that in mind, but are you alright?
Yes, sorry. I just thought I saw something strange. It must be the trick of the light. Anyway, on a right, as you must already know.
Rebecca Gales.
Gales.
The name is familiar, like a fond memory. I recall a kind lady, a private tutor who treated me like her own daughter when I was young. She'd even bring me food when there was no need to do so. Usually stovies, which I honestly hadn't been keen about, though I ate them nonetheless because she brought them for me.
Oh, the professor! And your little Becky!
My parents couldn't make it since they're in Scotland right now. And Mom says hi, by the way. But yeah, that's me. Little Becky. We met once before.
Yes, oh, I remember you! You were the cutest little thing with glasses!
Aww!
And when we met, you were having boys boy troubles with this lad called something with an A. What was it again?
Was it Ash?
Aaron, Alan, Adele, Albert, Alexander, Andrew?
The more names I list off, the more are read and the more quiet Becky gets. She starts to look a bit miserable as her body language shows discomfort and stiffness. Perhaps I triggered a horrid childhood memory. Surely I hadn't been mean when she visited with her mother. I don't quite remember all of it.
Ashton! Ash! That man is that boy! The same one. Oh, goodness me, after all these years! I can see why, though. He's quite dashing.
You don't really need to announce it to everyone with an earshot, you know? Keep it down.
It's her house. She can be as loud as she wants.
I'm so sorry, but it really is cute.
And a tad bit sad.
This is a nice party, Miss Wright.
Please, Anna's fine. We're friends of a sort, aren't we? We must be friends, seeing as I know about your little infatuation, Becky. Don't you worry, dearie. You'll have your happy ending yet.
I'm not too concerned about that, am I? That's not what I'm looking for.
Oh? And what makes you think that? Doesn't everybody want their happy ending?
The idea of happy endings sounds like they're just for fairy tales. And they are, sorta. I don't think you can just sit around, trapped in some tower and hope for the best. If you love them, you have to fight for it, right? You're not just going to sit there and hope that everything will just fix itself on its own. Like everything, you have to work at it. But what do I know?
There's a grimace, although she starts to relax around my presence. How long has it been since we met as children? Certainly a long time. She was tiny back then, if I recall correctly.
I'm sure the daughter of the two greatest professors I've ever known is smart enough to know what she's talking about. But have you told him how you feel? And it's been what, 20 years?
17, actually. But no, not yet. He can be a bit dense. I was hoping that maybe he'd notice on his own and...
Oh no.
Well, that won't do.
Oh, definitely not growing.
What if you two become husband and wife? He's not to be dense when he's sworn himself to another person. Why, you might just as well consider leaving before the day's even begun.
If that happens, I'll have to give him a good ear bashing, won't I? Whoever anyone ends up with, it's not going to be a perfect relationship anyway. There's going to be things you'll love and things you'll hate about the other person. We're just humans. It's funny. Here I am, trying to give you advice when you did the very same thing back then. I remember you giving me a makeover when we were still kids, and you were the first I told anyone about my crush.
I do remember now that she mentions it. Did I give her that yellow summer dress or the pink blouse and petticoat? She must have kept some of what I said in mind. It feels ridiculous remembering all of that years later, talking about boys and how they go crazy for pretty girls as if it's some gospel every woman should adhere to. It was so easy to say such things then, with me not knowing any better. Though, looking at her now, she must have kept some of what I said in mind. Perhaps I did say something good at that time, even for her to take it to heart? But all that didn't matter in the moments as I mull over what she's just said is in my head. What Becky told me is very different from what Marianne told me. There's no time to ponder over that. However, as a hush descends upon the once lively crowd, the music of strings and the chatter slows to a grinding halt as the doors from the foyer opens. The last of the latecomers should have arrived moments ago, and anyone else that is this late would simply be too embarrassed to show their face. So this can only be one person, or rather, one man. The only man who is audacious enough to arrive late to his own party.
Good evening, ladies and gents. Enjoying the party. I hope I'm not too late in welcoming you all to the Wright Mansion.
Unlike I, who was raised in the spotlight and simply grew used to its presence, he sought it out at every chance he could, even when there was no spotlight that shone. And I'll never put it against him when he smiles like that. He did quite so brilliantly under the scrutiny, even when he channels his own showmanship. You can tell by the way people's eyes light up as he speaks. How they listen enraptured even when all he's doing is a simple greeting. A little wave of his hands here and a little smile there and a little bit of swagger. I always tell him that if he is not to be a businessman, he'll do well as an entertainer. I love this side of him, especially when he looks at me and he beckons me over to humbly share his place. Not a single second is wasted as I excuse myself from Becky's side and make my way over to Luke's.
Welcome, one and all, to our humble abode. Tonight, if you have yet to find yourself in your roles, you are our ladies and lords of the court of your king and queen, if you would excuse my presumptuousness. So, enjoy the feast that has been laid out for your senses as we only allowed the best to be served. Enjoy the rest of your night, everyone!
There's a round of applause, cheers, and even some hoots. Guests approach us. Guests approach us left and right to shake Luke's hands and greet him personally, praises on their lips. It is because of this that I do not see her. I do not see her until she is dangerously close, with fury in her eyes, and she's already spitting venom. Johannes restrains her, taking care to not unnecessarily harm the pregnant woman. Rochelle? I'm guessing it's Rochelle. But that does little to deter her rage, and the man has no choice but to let her go lest an unborn child is hurt. Although it might be too late for that, as I see an empty glass of wine in her hands. How much has she imbibed in?
Are you feeling ill, Rochelle? Perhaps you need to sit down and...
No! Shut it, you monster! I ain't talking to you! I'm talking to this scumbag over here! You bloody bastard standing there with your smarmy smile!
She interrupts me, jabbing her finger in my direction before she rounds on Luke. Even as whispers and murmurs break out amongst the guests, all I can focus on is the heat of the moment. Obviously intoxicated, judging by the smell of alcohol on her breath. I'm not ticked off about this little display of hers, at least not yet. But I'm absolutely pissed by the fact that she endangered her own baby by drinking. There is a considerable amount of restraint and grace that I must exercise while I wait for her tantrum to subside. I keep a patient, if tight smile on my face. Luke's expression, on the other hand, is indecipherable.
Watch your tongue! You're on thin ice, Rochelle.
Why is she on thin ice with you, though?
Where's your husband? Who even invited you?
I did.
And I told you with great emphasis not to. Now we have a drunk, hormonal, pregnant woman causing a stir. What is even going on?
I'm just about to ask the exact same
I
thing.
don't know. But Rochelle, do calm down before you hurt yourself. I can't understand a word you're saying.
Where is that husband of yours? Lee! Collect your wife right now!
Don't you fucking talk like I'm not here and you're not responsible, you ass!
What? Responsible?
You told me that I should wait for you in the gardens!
Excuse me. What is this nonsense you're going on about?
Crazy talk. That's all it is. Just completely and utterly mad. Has anyone seen the chief inspector?
I'm confused right now as well. Like, I know earlier I was speculating, like, are they cheating? But he was gone forever, and she came way earlier with her husband.
I am pregnant with your little bastard. You promised me you'll take responsibility.
Oh my god, this is taking a way worse turn than I expected.
God damn it, Luke. I finally got you to talk to me after months of silence, and you do this to me.
What? What?
What do you mean you're pregnant with? Luke, is this true?
Lies and slander, woman! Security! Johans, take her out of here before she makes an even bigger fool of herself!
No, you do not do this to me. I was so ready to leave my stupid oaf of a husband. I told you to leave that damn wife of yours.
Jesus Christ. Like I said, this took a way worse turn than I was
Look
expecting.
at her. Does she look like she wants a baby?
Yeah, she does actually.
Does she look like she could take care of a baby?
It is now that Johans returns with security along with a concerned-looking Officer Lee. They surround her and move to escort the hysterical woman. Judging by his pale face, as he has heard the whole thing, and I feel nothing but pity for the man. Not that I believe Rochelle. Luke will never... Are we sure about that? He even said earlier he still acts like a bachelor. He will never go as far to sleep with another woman, right?
I'm so sorry for her behavior. She's been under a lot of stress. And the alcohol.
And she's pregnant, and she's drinking. Like, there's just... There's so much to unpack in this one scene alone. Like, just so many things I could vent about that are all separate issues that all seem to somehow be intertwined.
Talking nonsense, that's all it is. You're not allowed to drink because of the baby, Shelley. What are you thinking?
Nothing to see here, people. Move along.
Is there really nothing here but the ramblings of a drunk? Of course, there are nothing but the ramblings of a drunk. She's just jealous. Jealous of this wonderful marriage, this happily ever after that I have with my parents.
Take that trollop out of here immediately! And see to it that she isn't allowed here or anywhere we hold any authority in Luxbourne.
To be banned from anything with the right name on it is basically social suicide. We practically owned half of Luxbourne, but there isn't a single establishment of repute that isn't under our patronage in one way or another. This is mercy. I could do much worse to her. At least this way, she could just move out of the city and never, ever return. I have stayed my hand in the face of her grievous fault, her bold-faced lies, which she deserves so much more. I could take away her business, have her factory shut down. It is too easy to ruin her life until she's just nothing. It is all so tempting. I can only see red. The tension is thick in the air, and the silence that embraces the room is nearly deafening. There are worried and almost fearful glances from some of the guests, yet at the same time, I could hear them whispering. But as long as they hold their tongues and don't interfere, none of those matter to me. Especially when my darling looks at me with a different shine in his eyes. It's almost as if he's proud of what I've done, and that spurs me on more than anything.
Everyone, please go back to enjoying the party. Don't let that mess of a woman ruin your night.
You heard her! Strike up the band, maestro, and let us dance like fireflies in the night!
It takes a bit for the crowd to stir again in the face of all that. But like most problems at Ely, it is brushed under the rug and forgotten in favor of merriment. He offers a hand to me with a small smirk and a bow.
Well, that was a mess, wasn't it? And you handled it magnificently.
I'm surprised that we were able to handle something magnificently when we don't have a better relationship with Luke. It's not like it's completely plummeted at this point, but considering that we're not really on doing great with him either. Anyway.
It happens. We are very important people, are we not?
Milady, would you like to dance?
With pleasure, my prince.
No one is going to get in between me and my darling husband. Not Rochelle or any other rich, snooty scrubber. Not some common whore or an ambitious maid. No one is going to get near him in that matter, not while I'm around. And if I have anything to say about it, no one is going to get near him at all. The day after proved to be a difficult task. My darling prince is a man of many connections, a man of the people. He's always talking to one person or another. I am always left alone, unable to stay at his side at all times. It's frustrating, but I have to be understanding. Besides, I don't see why he can't just stay at home. The least I can do is make sure I have his time while he's here, which, in of itself, isn't as easy as it sounds. Not with all that bloody valet of his tailing him around.
Johans! Where's my tie? I can't find it anywhere.
I mean, it looks like it's on your neck, bro.
Have you looked around your neck? It should be there if it's not on your clothes horse, sir.
It isn't often that I'm awake this early, at least early enough to find my darling preparing for the day with his valet tending to him. It is an old-fashioned way to go about the morning. He's able to dress himself after all. But he says that it really makes the day easier for him to have someone else do this tedious task, albeit with a grimace. Though, if not that manservant of his dislikes the duty so much, I'll gladly do it in his stead.
I've got it, my prince. Come here.
Well, someone's up and at them especially early this morning, huh? Here I thought you'd be knackered by all the dancing we did last night at the party. And after that, well...
A saucy little wink and a smile is what he offers me as I draw close to fix his tie. And when the valet reaches out with his perfume, I quickly take it and shoo him aside. This close, his scent fills me with the smell of white flowers, cacao, caramond, and almonds. It is intoxicating. And the sight of the two of us in the vanity mirror is picturesque and perfect. Can I help it if I feel a bit resentful that another person gets to do this for Luke every morning when I could have done it myself? No, I can't.
You're dismissed, Shroken. I have this. Go on then. You'll be summoned if you're needed.
There's a curious look, furrowed brows before any sight that he cares is wiped from his expression.
Very well. If you need me, I'll be somewhere that isn't here.
You could have let the man do his job.
And I say there's no need for him. I can take care of you just fine, my prince. Just where are you off to this morning anyway?
I hate the thought of him leaving me. It feels like an eternity without him here in this lonely place that doesn't feel like home quite yet. Though the mansion is really growing on me, slowly but surely. I want to be at his side, yet he fails to see such an obvious thing.
Business. Where else?
Why can't you just work from home? You can afford to, can't you?
Business needs a firm hand and a personal touch, Buttercup. Besides, I can't stay cooped up forever in here. I'll go mad.
Well, you'll come back home as soon as possible, won't you? It's so awfully lonely here without you, my prince.
I could. I don't see why I should, though. This hasn't been a problem before. You know I'll come home when I come home.
Just get home as soon as you can. For me, won't you?
No promises. It's business after all.
God, we're back to the issue that I had in the first episode when we were starting Hannah's chapter, where if she's not penciled in, she doesn't get the time of day.
I can't just stand up in the middle of the meeting and tell them the wife wants me home.
Yes, you can.
Then forget those peasants.
He stops and stares, looking perturbed for a moment before shaking his head. Is he feeling ill? That's more reason for him to stay here with me, doesn't it? I'm just being a good wife, worrying about my husband and all.
Be good, dear, and stay safe. There's been all sorts of dodgy characters seen about the property. I'll be leaving Johans with you, just in case you need anything, and to be on the safe side, okay?
But I don't need a valet. I need you here with me.
I'll be closing a big deal with a pharmaceutical company soon, if things go according to plan. Maybe, after that, I can take a breather for a bit.
No maybes. You have to promise me.
I only need him.
I'm going to be late, Hannah. The longer this takes, the later I'll get home.
Fine. Shall I see you out?
if that's what you want.
They seem to be at a very neutral point right now. At the front door, his valet waits, ready to accompany him for the rest of the day when he's told to stay and attend to me. I still don't like it. It looks like he doesn't either, but I ignore him in favor of the one who really matters. I hold Luke's hand in mine and give him a deep kiss. It makes my heart flutter as I see the way his eyes close during our moment of passion. Parting for air, I can only smile.
Have a good day, my prince.
Right. Off I go.
What the hell was with that response? She just wished you a good day and you're just like, oh, whatever, bruh. Like, I still don't want him to leave. He should just stay. Forever.
If you could let go of my hand, please, Hannah.
It's so hard to let go when I finally have him in my grasp. To watch him enter his car and leaves pains me so. It leaves me behind an aching, gaping hole like a hunger and a need. I'm not content until he returns.
If it fits you, breakfast is ready in the parlor, madam.
If anything, I'll be in a foul mood until he returns.
Leave and go practice your bloody sodomy elsewhere.
Peculiar.
When I turn around to hiss at him to leave, he's already gone, and that suits me just fine. I want to be alone, without anyone bothering me. I want to be alone with myself and my thoughts, with only these halls as company. Those damn halls which will hold our memories, just he and I. There is no one else I need but my prince. Not some cheeky servant who's just living it up because he's Luke's right-hand man. Why is she jealous with Johan's all of a sudden? Like, I know she was having a good time with him this morning, and she had a good time with him last night, and that's something she doesn't get very often. But, like, I mean, I know she's jealous. I get it. But I do feel bad for Johan's. Rubbish like him deserve nothing. He deserves to be thrown and locked in the attic. What? Without realizing it, my feet have brought me in here. This empty, lifeless room disgusts me. The longer I stare at it, the harder it gets to breathe, as if the walls are moving in on me. Yet, at the same time it pulls me in, I hear a whispering, and curiosity gets the better of me as I look under the bed. There, on the far corner, a loose floorboard. The wood, despite having swelled and warped over the years, is strangely familiar, comforting in as it feels. Though it's not merely what my hand searches for as I reach for it. It takes quite an effort, but soon I'm able to lift it. And inside, underneath the dust and cobwebs, lies a pendant, warm and familiar. And I swear, if I just close my eyes, I can feel it beating in my palm. It's probably because it actually is beating. I feel a thrill, though I also feel like a thief for taking this. But it's mine. So without delay, I hide in our room. I'm getting really worried for her at this point. In front of the vanity, I always see my eyes shine as I remove the clasp of my old necklace and put this new one on. Right where it belongs. It fits a lot better than the old one. I can feel it as it weighs on my chest.
Right where it belongs.
Oh my god, what is happening to you? My Hana, no! Well, that was an abrupt ending. Oh my god, everyone's ending is so abrupt. Let's look at the branching tree. How far did we get? So we got 33% of the way through with her. But alrighty, everybody, that's what we're gonna call it for now. We're definitely gonna come back into another episode pretty soon. What do you think is gonna happen? What do you think is happening to the characters that we have already played as so far? Do you think Isabella's gonna survive? Do you think Hannah's gonna be possessed? What do you think is going to happen? I'm very curious. But anyway, Thank you so much for watching my content. It means everything to me. And until next time, you all have a lovely day and a happy October. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!